One thing was shocking to observe, and all the innovation that is happening in agriculture space, but there's hardly any for-profit solution to malnutrition. Best and most straightforward solution to malnutrition is by leveraging the most cost-efficient driver, right? That is fortification. We need to work with foods that people already eat every day. But this product, if we want to have a chance in this market, and if I want to have a chance as an entrepreneur, I need to develop a product that is absolutely freaking amazing. And showing them our product and like, hey, take it for free. We'll come back tomorrow and you tell me if you want it. And
Oh, yeah.
boy, did they want it.
Well, Fabio, thanks a lot for joining us in tomorrow's Bites to accept our invitation to come. We believe that what you're doing with TenX Nutrition is something that we are more than happy to talk about and share, because we believe that your mission is one to admire. We know you a little now, but for everybody that does not know you, Fabio, the first question is, how would you describe yourself?
Myself. That's a good one. But first of all, thanks for having me. I'm super glad to be here and super impressive to see and listen to what you've already been talking about, because it's really important topics. So very glad to be featuring Fabio. Well, I'm German. I think that's a place to start with. I'm 33. A food and nutrition enthusiastic, if not geeky, business individual that just really loves to work hands-on, get shit done, and have positive impact with it. And I think that's the nutshell. A lot around business, a lot about nutrition, food, right? And getting hands-on in what you most believe in and what you have your most passion in. I think that's really what describes me and what drives me to do what I do.
So like a food enthusiastic because of like you like cooking, for instance, I think, more or less. And then nutrition because you like to dive into healthy diets and stuff.
I think really, I mean, you say it food because it's something so practical. It's something that we all do. It's something so experimental, right? I think there's few people in the world that don't really enjoy a good meal, right? And I just really, really, really like that. And when it comes to the more geeky side, the nutrition side, I think nutrition is such an incredibly interesting, exciting topic, especially for the leverage that it has on us, on humanity, right? And what improved nutrition can get out of us as humans.
You mentioned that one of the things you're trying to do is to have a positive impact in the world. How are you trying to chase that positive impact?
Well, by working through nutrition. And as I said, like, I think if we do nutrition right, we can really get so much more out of us individuals, be it with regards to cognitive development, especially in child age, right? But also physical development. It could be health in general, and avoiding hospitalization, for example, right? I'm already drifting a lot into the impact space and into the developing world, particularly where this topic is so important. But I think there's many angles to connect nutrition and positive impact.
Yeah. You mentioned it very shortly, but you're actually also a business person, a business driven person. And that was your background, right? Like you didn't come from the food side, to say it like that.
Yeah, that's correct. A purely business background, international business, actually in Amsterdam as well, where you're based, I think.
Yeah.
And then more business, international sustainability management, right? More business, but always with food in the back of my head. And then also starting right into the food space. So from day one in my career, it was always food business, right? Connecting business and different forms of food, be it building ventures or the nonprofit space.
I think there is something about your personal journey, is that there is a literal journey. You've been in so many places. You've lived in several different countries. What is the lesson that you get in after having lived in many different cultures and different places?
I think it's a wonderful privilege, right, to have been to many places, and there's so much you can take from that, and I think you can also relate, right? What you can take from cultures and working together and all of these wonderful things. But yeah, I just love working in a bit more dynamic contexts and working with people from other cultures in different languages, and that's super exciting. And I everybody knows there's so much to learn from people, right, from across the globe.
And then why staying in Kenya after all?
Kenya's a fantastic country. Nairobi is a fantastic city. There's so much going on. It's an amazing ecosystem, not only for nature, but for business. Lots of investors, lots of expats, lots of cool people. So it's a place I feel very homey. Now 3 years here, and yeah, wouldn't be anywhere else.
What do you believe that the image that we have from African countries in Europe is a big distortion of how African countries actually look like?
Well, I can't speak for everyone, but I think to a certain extent, surely realize that, especially when it comes to Nairobi, people come and visit this place and are very much surprised what they find here, from how fast paced and how Western it also is in many ways, right? So there's definitely a discrepancy between reality and what, say, many Europeans or Westerners in general think of.
Did you also like, were you actually surprised when you visited Nairobi for the first time? It's like something
Yeah,
that you had
yeah.
a different perception of what it's going to be and what it not to be.
Yeah, definitely. Never easy to perfectly imagine a place, but yeah, I was also surprised by how fast paced, how just bustling, particularly this city is, with entrepreneurs, but with just so many individuals, experts that are doing amazing work, and it's great to see. And it's not only Nairobi, right? You go to Kampala, you go to Addis Ababa, you go to Dar es Salaam, very cool cities, definitely worthwhile. Yeah, staying, visiting, exploring, so much to do.
I want to know a bit more like the path that you followed, because you studied the masters, I think, in Amsterdam. Then you went to another small startup. Eventually, you end now in Nairobi, in Kenya. There you set up a company. How did that happen? Like, I still miss some puzzles along the way. You know, like when did it make the decision? Like, okay, I found a problem here in Kenya, and in Nairobi, I'm going to build here the business. But also, like, the first attention, like, oh, well, I mean, you have to leave your family in France, in your home country. It's not so easy.
I've always embraced it, and thanks for the question. It gives me lots of opportunity to talk about the cool things that I was privileged to do. But I spent a few years in South America. I spent some time in Asia, and it was always clear that I wanted to do something outside of Germany. And I saw the challenge here in East Africa. I saw and read how exciting the life can be in Nairobi. And then it literally took me, yeah, a flight ticket and two packed bags to make the step, and here we are again. No regrets at all. I don't wish to be anywhere else, and I can only encourage anyone who is excited, right, and has the possibilities to explore, right, and do the step, go take a risk, and especially come to places like these where, so much can be done, right, with the right mindset, with the right goal. You can achieve amazing stuff, right? That's what I'm trying to do here in Kenya.
That's nice inspirational part, right? I mean, you're living that. I wonder what kind of problem that you saw that you felt like, here I'm gonna build a solution for.
What
It's a
I
little
saw,
bridge.
yeah, thanks. I mean, the problem that we are trying to tackle here is that of malnutrition in East Africa, or in Kenya for now. Yeah, it's I didn't know I was going to tackle this problem when I
No,
first came here, but
maybe
it's
I have to tell, like, how was the first time encountering this, like, because you had to see it first.
yeah. I mean, malnutrition is called the hidden hunger, right? So it's not always easy to see, but if you're a bit into that space, you do recognize it. In Nairobi, it's a whole lot less than in more remote places, right? But there's many indicators of the same, right? And it starts from stunting, lesser growth, smaller growth. It can be, well, cognitively, that's obviously not easy to observe, but there's many indicators of the same. But what shocked me and how I got to think about solving this problem, or developing the solution to it, is that I spent like 6 months here, and I just did dinners and coffees, right? I just met with people and tried to identify where's the problem, right? What is there, what is not there, what can be done, right? What can be my place in this ecosystem? And one thing was shocking to observe, and that is that with all the innovation that is happening in the agriculture space, right? And we're talking about irrigation systems, access to markets, drones, and whatnot, right? Amazing solutions to agriculture, but there's hardly any for-profit solution to malnutrition, right? And that is arguably one of the biggest problems that we have globally, right? And one of the biggest leverages that we have on human well-being, and that is nutrition, right? There is hardly any for-profit, market-based solutions by organizations trying to tackle it at scale, at a profit.
It's all non-profit organization that is focusing on this.
It's mostly non-profit organizations, yeah.
I was already like, a question was that I wanted to ask, like, where does the problem lay in malnutrition? But maybe is this what you already mentioned?
Well, it's a good question, and I'm probably not in a position to really answer that end to end. Malnutrition has many roots. Availability of food, the affordability of food, of nutritious food, also the appeal of certain foods, but then also the commercial availability. Because if you go in a supermarket in Europe, you'll find so much diversity, right, and so much nutrition, and even industrialized food. What do you call it? Like processed foods, right? There's nutrition in many places, but when you come here, first of all, most consumers can't afford items in a supermarket. You buy roadside, right? That's the thing. But secondly, there is also a lot less availability, and the things that you find here are a lot more expensive, right? When they are nutrient dense. Yeah, that's a short glimpse, but there's many more drivers of malnutrition.
Yeah.
Okay, then you are in the moment that you realized there is a problem with malnutrition. The malnutrition has many layers, and some of them are availability, some of them are affordability. How does the idea of TenX Nutrition then, like how that one is born? Like in what moment you say, okay, this can be the model?
Yeah. Perfect question. I seem to have figured out for me, and that was not my ingenuity, right? That is from other people's best practices globally. But for me, the best and most straightforward solution to malnutrition is by leveraging, on the one side, the most cost-efficient driver for nutrition, right? That is fortification. That is adding nutrients. That's the science of adding nutrients to foods. And then on the other hand, it is working with foods that people already love and that people already eat every day. And if you bring these two together, then you have an amazing vehicle, an amazing driver that can access, in an ideal case, millions of consumers with exactly the nutrients that you want them to reach, right? And that's fantastic. And that's super cost affordable, super appealing, right? You keep eating what you already eat, and you get all those nutrients into your system.
I really wonder, and I think that this is something that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle in their first part. That is like, how do I have this great idea that I think I can make a business. How can I prove I can make a business out of this? And how that was for you was the moment where you start like saying, okay, I'm going to start prototyping, or I'm going to start validating this idea. How was the process?
Yeah, that's also yet another question that is right into the heart of of the journey, right? At the beginning, you're starting to think, okay, that's the problem. How can I deliver the solution? What does the new solution need to have for it to work, right? And I think we started off by what I just said, right? We need to work with foods that people already eat every day and that they already love. But, and that was my, kind of aha moment, is like, okay, this product, if we want to have a chance in this market, and if I want to have a chance as an entrepreneur, I need to develop a product that is absolutely freaking amazing, right? It needs to be fantastic us to have a chance to actually reach consumers, and for consumers to actually decide to buy this product and not the many other products that are lying next to it, right? So we have to have a super strong value proposition for the consumer, which is probably not based on fortification. It's probably not gonna be based on folic acid and iodine that convinces a cost-sensitive consumer, in this case here in Nairobi, to buy our mandazi, to buy our product, right? It needs to address what they deem as important.
Did you create this by yourself, this prototype? Did you went yourself into the kitchen and developed it with your...
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there was many kitchen hours involved. It would be unfair to say that there weren't at least 10 clever heads involved at many stages, right? From two nutritionists, a food scientist, a food technologist, as well as also our house aide, as well as people who from our targeted consumers who came around and started chipping in to what's important. What does this product need to have? What does the product need to be for it to be for it to be what I just said, right? Appealing and really an amazing product. So it was a joint effort for sure.
I have many questions about the development of the product. But first of all, how did you decide what things were you gonna put in the for fortifying? Like, I mean, in the end, you have a like a large amount of supplements and minerals and micronutrients that you can decide between in order to put in there. Like, you just decide, like, I will put them, all of them, or how was the selection of the micronutrients or minerals that you were looking into?
Yeah, that's a question I also asked myself at the beginning, and it's a difficult one for somebody who comes from a business background, right? I have no clue about these things, or little idea, let's say. But the short answer is that we looked at secondary research, right? We looked at something called the Kenya Nutrition Action Plan. We looked at different studies that researched nutrition availability, micronutrient deficiencies in Kenya and even Nairobi specifically. And from there, we found out, okay, there's apparently a top four, so to say: iron, zinc, vitamin A, folic acid. Those came up all the time in all the research papers, right? There's also calcium and iodine, right? But those names came up again and again, and then from there you move forward. And now we actually use the nutrient mix that is already super well established. So we use a mix of nutrients that the World Food Program developed, and that is widely used. So we then took this one and then started adjusting it with the nutrients that we knew from research that Kenya needs specifically: zinc, iron, vitamin A, folic acid. And of course, that wasn't my science here. That'd be a horrible idea to put me to do that alone. But really, a couple of very clever people who chipped in here.
About the product itself, I'm wondering, like, fortifying food is, of course, a good thing to do, but the benefit is depending a lot about the absorption of it, how good it is. The minerals and vitamins that will be absorbed is like food matrix, depending on it as well. What does your science tell? Like, is the
Yeah.
product it is fortified in a good way?
I would say so, yeah. And you're alluding big time to bioavailability, I suppose, and also nutrient interactions, and sort of
Yeah.
like anti-nutrient interactions, all that stuff. I get super geeky about it. I understand the smallest the smallest part of it, but it's fascinating, right? And I'm glad you bring it up because it's such an important part of delivering nutrients, right? The body is full of mysteries and just biochemical interactions that make delivering the right nutrients very difficult, or not delivering the right nutrients, but making sure the body absorbs the right amount of nutrients. That is incredibly difficult. And like even and I really try to narrow, like to follow up on this question of, and asked professors from universities, and like, okay, so how can we make sure that we do not only deliver, but we make sure the consumer absorbs what they should be absorbing. The short story here is, they can't tell you. They say it's so complex, you can't. There is no, if this then that. At least not when you talk about 10, 20 nutrients in one. So it's difficult. That's the gist.
Yeah, I mean, I understand your answer, but I guess that also puts you, or puts the idea in a difficult position, no? Because like I understand that you're doing this because you have a really belief on the impact that it can have, but it's an impact that actually you notice that people have, or that you in some way have proved to exist. Not because I'm saying that it's not there, but because it is true that until what extent we can say that the absorption is this high, or yeah, until what extent it's working, let's put it like that.
Yeah. Well, at the end, we kind of outsourced their ingenuity, or we in-housed the ingenuity from the WFP, right? So they developed that nutrient mix. They know very well what they're doing, and we just did some, well-educated adjustments to make sure that Kenya-specific nutrients are addressed. And there we looked at some of the most important factors here. Again, bioavailability, nutrient interactions, and so on. Yeah, it's now, of course, testing, right, is next level. That's in the case of nutrition, that's a very complex thing. There's obviously different metrics you can look at, from health matters, cognitive development, again, hospitalization, all these things. Those are difficult for us to measure because we're a young business, but there are ways to actually track and measure, the impacts of nutrition.
Okay, then we're in the stage of prototyping, of developing, and then I'm really curious about the moment. As far as I remember, for what you told me, you're all bootstrapping for the moment. There is no there's no investor or VC or somebody that has put money into it, right?
Correct.
Okay, so well, how was the moment that said, okay, we have something good enough to say, let's try to go to the market? And how was the first time that you delivered this to the market in a way that you say, let's start doing business from it? Stop the prototyping, start the business.
Wow, I haven't thought about it in a long time, but I think we started again a kitchen level here. Spent a lot of nights here making mandazi, and bringing them to the market, getting feedback uh, on the product side, on the price side. Um, at what point was it that we took it to commercialization? I think after a few loops, right, you end up with a certain size and flavor and overall, characteristic of your product that you're happy with, and then you bringing it down to the market. And we identified a nice space where we can do this super small, right, in an informal settlement here. So in one of the slums, we set up this tiny factory. We recruited a second person to work with us in production. We work exclusively with young women from informal settlements. It was actually a friend of our already recruited, Emma is her name, and she brought one in. Then we were two, and then we spent 2 weeks in that tiny factory. Then I bought machines with an Uber from one end of the city to the other, and buying ingredients. And you didn't know there's wholesalers, so you bought it from supermarket and just took the entire shelf, made it empty with all the ingredients that they have, because I didn't know how else you can get it. And driving across town to buy machineries that you never thought you'd you'd need in your life, right? And it's if I look back, it's been a super adventurous but also fun experience to do something as wild as that. And well, now we have this site. We continue improving our mandazi, and we continue growing.
I shall have noticed before. You you said you're a sole founder, but you keep talking about we, and I'm really curious how. I mean, since there was not a business still started and everything, how did you do in order to recruit people that probably you needed knowledge and talent that it was different in order to make this happen? How do they? How did you recruit them to work under like with your idea?
Passion helps, I think. Them- Showing them the bigger picture, right? It's true what you said earlier. We are bootstrapped, meaning there's no outside investors, meaning cash is very limited, to say the least. And we work, well, on production level, of course, we pay our workers decently. That's no question about it. But when it comes to the product development side of things and operational stuff and the finance side of things, there you can't really get away with very affordable salaries, let's say, from a Western perspective. But you have to convince otherwise, right? So the answer is showing perspective. Hey, that's where we want to be. That's that's the impact we want to have, but that's also the financial return that you can expect. And so that it's a bit of ownership, right? You also give away equity, especially to very senior. We have a very senior product development specialist. He owns a small part of the business, right? That's also good. And then the rest is also just I mean, people love to do good things and they love to invest time on it. And we currently have, I think, 3 volunteers of very high profile, right? Super smart people. And they do this because they believe in, wow, this has actually the potential to reach and impact many people. And that also works.
I actually wanted to ask on that part where I think one of the, well, I don't know exactly, but I think one of the problems in building up a food company in Africa is that supply chain issue, no? Like you don't know where you have to go to the right wholesaler or like whatever. Like you have to get it from very different players. There are multiple ones in the chain. It's not that one owns a big part. Is that true?
When you start, it very much seems that way, that you have no
Okay.
clue where to get your things from. But as you dive a bit in, it's actually quite easy to get your resources. You need to set up good contracts, obviously,
Yeah.
to make sure that at scale, you're not going to be stranded in terms of supply. But other than that, it's yeah, you figure out your things. Supply is one of them.
Was there a moment that you thought literally like you came home at night after a long day and you thought like, I don't know if this is gonna make it
Every other day.
every other day? Sounds
Every
like
other
a
day,
founder.
all the time, all the time.
Yeah.
At least every so often as well, the positive side comes, and you come home and you think, well, this is actually good potential to become something of size and of value. So both exist. I guess every entrepreneur can relate.
So how does the supply chain now looks like? Like the whole logistics is like, how is it? You prepare it in your little factory, and then is that packed or something like that, and it's sold in supermarkets, or how is everything looks?
Well, it's now everything is digitalized, meaning no more supermarket runs. We work with by telephone orders, right? And it's being delivered to our storage, to our factory, and that's already end of the story, right? At a year in the business, it's been hacked, right? So we know where to get our resources from. We know where to call when something breaks. We know where to get our machines. We know to put the pieces of the puzzle together. At least when it comes to a small business as such, and everything that you need to produce mandazi on a day-to-day business.
How is your like selling approach? Like, what kind of tools do you use? Basically, is it similar we can expect here? Like your marketing is mostly digital.
No marketing actually. We benefit from word of mouth.
Oh, really?
Maybe it's good to explain at this point that what mandazi is probably the most commonly eaten food, convenience food item
Yeah.
in Kenya, right? It's an incredibly popular food, especially among children.
Explain it. What is it? Like,
Yeah, it's a mandazi is a piece of fried dough. You can compare it to a donut in some ways, at least from the yeah, from a taste, a little bit from the fluffiness. No hole in the middle. But
okay.
it's a piece of fried dough. Most ingredients. It's wheat flour. It's oil and sugar. And that's sold at every corner in informal settlements, but also rurally, almost everywhere in the country. And young and old, everybody loves it. And we sell through especially those channels, right? We sell in informal settlements. We sell in so-called dukas. That means shop in Swahili. It's roadside shops. And we also sell in schools, and we sell in or to NGOs.
I'm just wondering, because of the of what the food is, I understand that it's fortified and everything, but I also, I don't know, I would look with suspicious eyes somebody that comes to me with a donut and said like, yeah, this is very healthy. Like, you should eat more of this. So
Yeah,
how do you approach that? No, because in the end, I guess that also in some way you cannot recommend people to eat mandasis like if they were, like if it was water. No, but I guess that
exactly.
within the proper moment of the diet, one mandasi, if you have to choose the one that is fortified, maybe. You know?
Correct. 100%. And the word healthy is a very tricky one. Our mandazi
Yeah.
is not healthy.
Yeah. Okay.
Our product is not healthy. Our product is nutrient dense. It means it is packed or it has a high density of nutrients that many people are lacking, which can have health benefits, right? But I would never describe our product as healthy. And if you'd ask me, hey, or if somebody were to ask me, hey, should I eat only your mandazi? Definitely not. Please don't. Should I rather eat vegetables? Yes, please do. Don't eat our product. That's right. Our product is, we are able to say that our product contains at least 25% daily requirements in everything that's needed from a micronutrient perspective: zinc, iron, vitamin A, folic acid, iodine, iodine, calcium, B12, most of the B vitamins, even protein. 25% of a child 4 to 8 years old. That's good, that's amazing, but you definitely need a whole lot more in this world to be healthy. And yeah, you should really have a diverse diet. That's a definite yes.
I guess it's just like this internal debate, and maybe something that you can also face from time to time. No, that appears with that it's great that you're doing, and you have a point with the fact of there is food that people love for obvious reasons, that they're like they become joyful snacks or whatever, and people have like these, oh yeah, mandasi, great, I'm gonna have it because a treat or whatever. And then you say, yeah, if you target those as the point of fortification, you're in some way like making a painless step for the consumer, in the sense of saying like, oh yeah, I really feel like a mandasi, and you're already going through malnutrition. At the same time, what happens with this is that these products is that they're preferably not of high consumption, as we were saying. Of course, every diet needs to be varied and everything, but definitely it's better that in your varied diet you eat more tomato than more candy. You know, let's put it like that. I don't know if like there's some perspective that you also have with TenX Nutrition, that maybe not only looking into these joyful snacks, but also into other kind of foods that are more positive in a higher consumption. I don't know
Yeah.
if I'm explaining myself.
Yes, totally. The straight answer to your question is we're looking at porridge. We're looking at chapati, which is another wheat-based product. It's also not entirely, but it's not deep fried. for example. Mandazi is a deep fried product. There could be other products in the market that still needs to be conquered in that way. But as you rightfully say, it's commonly then a trade-off with how commonly eaten they are, and you need to kind of decide probably on a strategy. And I'm not in a position to say that what we do is 100% correct, because you could argue that our deep fried product does harm, right? It's high oil content. There's still a lot of wheat flour in it, so we got to be careful with that. But we know it's the most commonly eaten food item, and you can't swap that for broccoli, right? That's not how it works, unfortunately. With that said, with that in mind, you need to kind of also work with those products that have the potential to reach your targeted consumers en masse.
If it helps, I think that there are many brands, even really well intentioned, making like supposed to be really healthy products within supermarkets and wherever, that they're also not 100% perfect in my point of view. So I don't think that. I mean, it's really noble to let you recognize the thing that you say. Like, yeah, of course, we are not the Grail cap of that is going to save the food system. It's just a food product that is trying to do a good thing, and I think that is really nice. But at the same time, I don't think shall be. I don't think that is going to be your goal anyway, to become like the perfect product. And I think that is also good. It's just recognizing like the limitations. And I think that most, if not like 99% of food products in the supermarket have that limitation.
Yeah. At the same time, we should never stop trying to improve our products, right? So
No.
yeah, we look at whole grain right now. We look at ways to reduce oil uptake in the product through innovative machinery and processing. So that process has to keep going, and ultimately you can get maybe to the best balance of reach and health / nutrients.
Yeah, I want to go through another path. I'm wondering, like, I can also imagine, and with it's probably also around food waste and all stuff, is it's more debate about policies as well, instead of like innovations and products and solutions, right? Like we have a lot of solutions. Also, to probably this, we can end it, but it's also probably a policy debate there. And I'm wondering in your case, like, what are policies that should be changed and could help ending malnutrition as faster?
Yeah, it's a big topic. I think fortification is an amazing vehicle, right? And fortification is mandatory by law in Kenya.
Okay. What does that mean?
That means that staples such as flour, wheat, and maize, as well as vegetable oil, for example, have to be fortified. They have to. There is a set of guidelines that exactly dictate what amounts of nutrients must be in these products.
Okay.
What problem is on the implementation side that many millers, in this case, are not sticking to it, and also that arguably the levels of nutrition dictated are not ideal, to say the least. That I think
What is the reason behind that they are not applicable? Is just cost?
yeah. Again, I'm also not
No,
in
yeah, okay.
industry, like I can't speak for everyone in the industry, but it's a cost driver for millers, right? And if there's no watchdog on the government side, then why would they do it? It's the philanthropic side, and people may not always win when it faces cost disadvantages. But to answer your question, Shako, it's having fortification established in a manner that is actually controlled, as in like there is a implementation mechanism and a controlling mechanism in place, and with state-of-the-art science dictating the levels of nutrition in foods. That's a step one. There's a few roadblocks also beyond that, but I think that's a very, very good starting point.
Nutrition seems to me, and maybe I'm wrong, a little bit like the bandage to the wound of malnutrition. But there is and I don't mean it as a bad thing. I think that we also need like quick, efficient solutions to certain problems. But I also wonder, like, is not malnutrition something that shall be in some way tackled through more nutritious diets, talking about the things that we get access to, and there are many problems, socio-political, that in here play a role. But at the same time, I think like fortification is like the quickest, efficient solution. That is like, let's put the nutrients that they're missing. But there is a question here: is like, why are these missing? Like, because in theory we are biologically evolved in order to obtain these nutrients from somewhere, so they used to be there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Now, this is a huge topic, right? But you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. When I talk about fortification, and I'm really big advocate for it, but that comes after saying actually that the food system in a way is broken, right? And not only the food system, but you could spin it off to, hey, our entire, what's this world order, and what's, equal chances, and why is there so much income discrepancy, income differences here in this part of the world, right?
Yeah.
And thus different access to right, and education, and so many other things. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that are definitely good points that you highlight as well. That is also has to be taken into account in the full picture, I believe, as well. So thanks, Fabio, for sharing that. But now to end it more on a pleasant way. I mean, you're now several years in this role, and you built something very valuable for particular people. And I'm wondering, if you now look back to the starting Fabio, what is something as an advice that you would like to give him as an entrepreneur? They're seeking to become an entrepreneur.
It's a wonderful question. What would I have loved to hear at the beginning?
Exactly.
Well, some of the classics, right? You learn from your mistakes, right?
Okay.
What else? What else do we have? Failing forward, that stuff.
Yeah, you were holding back. Like the younger Fabio was more risk averse.
Nah, I like just get down quicker, right?
Okay.
It's not my quote, but who said it? I'm not sure.
You can make it your quote.
If you are not embarrassed of your first prototype, then you didn't launch early enough, right?
Okay.
That's
Okay.
very, I completely agree. True.
Sorry, but get your ass into the uncomfort zone. In my case, that actually means we had to set up a factory, and start producing, and stop talking about it. And that's just the number one learning. I mean, from there, learnings went exponentially up. So get your product out, get feedback. Prior to that, get feedback in, but then get a product out and make mistakes, right? And then you'll quickly get to
And
something that's
you just went to the streets. You were just offering your products for free.
pretty much, yeah. At the beginning,
Yeah.
yeah. I was walking around in Islam with my then co-founder, if you want it, who left long ago. Walking around to Dukas and going there and showing them our product. I mean, like, hey, take it for free. We'll come back tomorrow and you tell me if you want it. And
Oh, nice.
boy, did they want it, because consumers loved it, right? And that process is also learning, right? How do you get your products in a store? How you get it to be seen and tried, and also get the feedback at the end.
What about the future, Fabio? How does the future of TenX Nutrition looks in the next 5-10 years? What are the big goals?
The recipe is in our name, right? We want to 10x that thing, and actually it's a 100x thing. We're now raising funds to build a big factory where we will scale our production from currently 2,500 to 250,000 products per day. That's the goal, right? And that's happens to be actually 1x, right? It's a little coincidence, but that's the plan. We want to launch at least one other product. It could well be chapati. We need to hire a team. We need to build a solid distribution structure. And yeah, there's 100 to-dos, but the most important thing is scale that thing up and do it in a way that is financially sustainable and just also, right? And always take a look left and right, so you're doing no harm, but actually, yeah, building something that is doing good, right? And that's the most important thing. At scale.
What is one thing that the African entrepreneurial, well, if you have to tip it down to Kenya, that should be, well, I have to phrase this, different. What is one thing that should be implemented right now that could benefit the entrepreneurial playing ground, the ecosystem in Kenya with 10x?
What could be implemented to help the Kenya ecosystem?
Yes.
It's an investment structure that backs startups earlier. And somebody described it recently as the valley of death, right?
Yeah.
We are not getting investment because we're too young, we're too small. We're having so many conversations with high profile people, but they're like, yeah, talk to us in 2 years. So there must be some sort of structure, some sort of investment
So no pre-seed.
body, organization, marketplace, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
to connect high potential founders and angel investors or VC impact funds, whatever, some sort of capital.
Because what do they give as a feedback? It's like, why do they say come back in 2 years? They want to see that you grow to selling X amount of units. I don't know.
Yeah, less risk.
Less risk.
Risk aversion, right,
Risk.
is number one reason for later
And then the time
investment.
is the metric that they put on.
Yeah, there's different funders, different reasons, right? But that's the short answer is risk aversion and yeah.
How much are you selling right now, actually, like per year or the last year, 2024, for example?
Last year we sold roughly 350,000 products, starting in April. So we only started selling in April. Yeah, this year we want to 100x it. Not quite. That's stuff for the years to come. But we want to move into a factory where theoretically we could do that, but then grow also organically. Yeah, it's a very dynamic and very exciting progress and process.
Fabio, one question that is also more for our audience. What is a connection that would really help you? Like somebody that could really help you to go the next level with?
Funders?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we are now in some very promising conversations, but it is philanthropic funders.
Yeah. Okay.
People that believe in the potential of the product and of the impact. And there's actually no two opinions here, but there is a strong business case here. There's money to be made, and the impact case can be phenomenal, right? And whoever is triggered by these words, please do shoot me an email or LinkedIn.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah,
very
we will
good.
put we always put the
We
contact
always put the
information
contact information so
in
they
the
can
description. So
easy made.
yeah, they know where to
Perfect.
find you.
Yeah.
There's one thing that we always do at the end because we come to a closing is that we give you the opportunity to ask us a question. We give because we fired a lot of questions to
Yeah,
you,
exactly.
Fabio. So
Yeah.
now you get the opportunity to ask us a question.
I like that. From the many interviews that you've had now, what's perhaps your top 3 high potential solutions or like takeaways for tomorrow's bites, for the future of food, right? What are
Top 3
for
takeaways. I love it.
for
You
names?
want to hear the golden X
No,
of what is
no
going to be
names,
the
but like
Takeaways? No, it's like. Is
which
it takeaways? Is it solutions like technologies, or is it?
yeah, technologies. Yeah, like it could be, vertical farming could be an answer, or like what are like the things that you personally had you most convinced of what is going to make out the future of food.
So I am quite biased as well, but think
we are.
as humans are in general. Also to know, I have not a worldwide, and I know that solutions are also regional located. But one of worldwide solutions I can imagine is regenerative agriculture. It's a way we need to reframe it and what it consists of. But that is one that has one, and in that frame you have biostimulants and all kind of things. You have to dive into the microbes solutions, and I think the field of microbiotas inside the body and also inside the soil is something that we gather more information on, and that is a future. We see the importance there, and because it gets linked to metabolic diseases, but also soil health is very important, as is also determined by microbiota composition. There's a second one. I said, yeah, well, is that involved in? I think you have other practices around this.
I was thinking personalized nutrition.
Yeah, also personalized nutrition, because I actually also about the complexity of nutrition.
Yeah. But because for me, it's a matter that any nutritional advice that we receive now, like all these nutritional, like really avoided, without personalized nutrition, everything lacks a little bit of sense. Like it doesn't matter. In some way, I mean, you have studies that in Kenya population are really specific, and that's already something. But giving everybody the same kind of guidelines when it comes to nutrition and trying to everybody like checking the macros, checking like I need to get like 1 gram without the right information that is in your genetics is practically useless. So that is why I believe personalized nutrition will have a big impact.
Yeah, and then in general, I will scope it under the healthy food, and it could be alternative proteins and whole foods and stuff. Because I believe that there is also a place for that, just with the right ingredients and the right processes.
And then, Fabio, this is the last question we make to all of our guests. It's a really happy one, so we all love to end with this one. What is your favorite food or dish?
My favorite, sorry?
Food or dish, like to eat.
My favorite food to eat.
Is it now Kenyan food?
Is mandazi or?
Definitely not.
And now you ate enough of that.
My favorite food to eat is a good curry. A good curry that just hits the spot every time. I think a good Indian cuisine, or arguably the Vietnamese cuisine and everything that is brothy, and that's
A
also
pho.
ramen.
Nice.
It's not really Vietnamase, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Asian
With
cuisine in
food.
general, but you mentioned like some in Asian cuisine. Okay, it's Asian cuisine, but with a spoon. Okay. Fabio, thanks a lot for this interview. I think we went through very important topics. You gave really nice insights that I think are really valuable for food entrepreneurs. Insights
Also your
of
honesty.
yeah, exactly. So give insights of how is the entrepreneurial perspective in Africa. It is not a standard one that we tend to hear. Overall, in these interviews, for obvious reasons, we are more closer to the Western world, and it's always nice to hear like how it works in different parts of the world because it gives you a broader perspective and gives you better insights of how take things into action. And we can only wish you the best and that you get all your goals with TenX Nutrition, and that we hope that it really the journey pays off.
Thanks so much, guys. Really appreciate that, and thanks for having me. Super cool your work that you're doing, and the problems that you're highlighting, and the solution that you're presenting. So kudos to your work as well. Yeah, hope to be pitching you our mandazi in physical form at some point.
Yeah.
We would love to. Okay, thanks a lot, Fabio.
Thanks.